Hello, hello. How's it going, everybody? How's it going? We're back at it again. We are continuing with our tray app. We've made some good progress. We've kind of knocked out the big three APIs that we were looking at doing in JavaScript. The system tray, I mean, it's a system tray app, so you kind of need some level of system tray integration. System tray, then the notifications is number 3. What was number 2? Nice. Hey, Nicola. Thanks. ah. um, what was the second thing we did? Global hockey. So a way to like bring up the menu shortcuts, like shortcut menu style. Now, I think we do the same in Rust. We have some of it, at least the system tray part, pretty nearly done in Rust, I believe. We did JavaScript first because I think that was those APIs are newer in V2, and I think that's provides a more interesting user interface or user as in like the person cloning it. It provides a newer, unique experience for that crowd. I think there's value in supporting both, though. And I kind of want to get back into Leptos a little bit. I don't know if we'll have time. We're definitely not going to have time to do it in the stream, but we can start looking at how we want to put together at least like a minimal front end in Rust and the other APIs in Rust, and it's going to be like pretty purely Rust, as purely JavaScript as we can be in the two camps. And then when somebody clones it, they can sort of like mix and match if that's what they would choose to do. And then on top of that, we can provide little like snippets. So the idea with a snippet would be, I want this little piece of functionality. It's going to be in a form that ideally can be copy and pasted. So then this is over and above or otherwise different than something like create Tauri app, where someone would be grabbing that to like quickly spin up an app, and it gives you a few like small foundational pieces to then build up on top. Because getting the builders working and all that wiring is tedious to do, get right, and document. So it was also sort of and on top of that, it makes reproductions and stuff easier. So there was a bit of a selfish reason behind when we create Tauri app. But it gives like a good jump off point. This is more of I have a specific intent with doing an app. I want to do something, so like spin up something quickly. It's a little bit more focused on like a single person doing it for themselves or a small team. It doesn't have to be though, which I'm definitely open to like changing the name. Naming is hard, right? So it's sort of focused on the idea of somebody grabbing it and just making a little app for themselves. Like a little util app that just lives in their system tray, and they can pull it up when they need to do whatever functions they've added. So yeah, definitely open to renaming it. But that being said, full JavaScript, full Rust, pick which one, or do a little bit of mix and matching yourself. Copy and paste a couple snippets, and you can have a like personal app that you can start using and build off of. I think that's a pretty neat idea. At least I think it is, which is why I'm investing in it. And I do have sort of an ultimate end goal for a personal use case, but we'll get to that eventually. Charcuterie. I kind of like it. Is that like a millennial thing? Charcuterie boards? I mean, um, it would be a little bit on brand, I guess. That makes me think of the like if you've seen the memes where an adult charcuterie is like sausage and cheese and crackers and whatnot, and Lunchables is like the kid version of a charcuterie board. I think of that at least once a week in the morning when I'm making my lunch for my oldest. uh, anyways, I'm not opposed to it. It definitely does give me the good feels. So yeah, let's look at what we're gonna do as far as Rust implementation. Right now, I think I've got it open too here. Ooh, that's big. Let's make it not so much. So I did push up the toast changes that we did last week now. We had it's hard to spell. Yeah, that's also true. And maybe not like I wonder about the cross language thing. Like everybody has a hard time pronouncing vite because it's French. Did I say it right? Vite. Yep. Yes, right. Vite. Now I'm doubting myself. I feel like charcuterie is going to be that on a whole nother level. At the very least, bonjour. At the very least, charcuterie needs to go in the README. Okay, so we've right now we have the folder structure sort of in a what I would say is a typical Tauri app folder structure. I think we have a top level Rust and a top level SRC Tauri. Or excuse me, a top level Rust and top level. I read that as I was talking. Top level Rust, top level JavaScript, and then a top level snippets folder. And those would be the places where you start with. The only thing I don't like is that you'd have to like when you choose JavaScript or Rust, you'd have to like opt. You're gonna like opt into one, or opt into one as your foundation that you build off of, and then you immediately need to like move in and like muck with your Git history. Yeah, and that, like I think it in some ways makes trying to keep up to date or at the same progress as the template upstream. So if somebody clones it and they want to try to continue to update or at least bits and pieces, just the fact that files in slightly different locations is a little bit annoying. I can't think of any other better way to do it though. So I think that's what we're going to roll with right now. As it stands, we have this main.rs. This is part of what we were building the tray app on. This has gone through a couple iterations. We've pulled this up on stream for a handful of we've pulled it up on stream a handful of times to talk about, but it's been something that we've been looking at for more than a year now, I think. Like as a concept and as an experimentation ground. We did it in V1. We upgraded to like an alpha, and we did some messing around with these newer JavaScript APIs when they were like just hitting PR status. But at this point, it's in V2. I don't think we're going to do too much more with it here. And I forgot why we brought that up. Why did I bring that up? Oh yeah. So when we first did it, and we were playing around with those APIs and the PRs, I think they were on the Rust side only, so we had to do them in Rust. So we implemented a lot of it in Rust already, and in our upgrade, fixing those existing issues. So I think at least on some level, we have some of the system tray part done. So if we move things around a little bit, I think we can start bouncing off of this and handling the system tray part of it. The thing that I'm going to need to look into is we are serving an HTML file. If we do choose to go Leptos, which I'm partial to, we might need to like deal with the source and deal with the index.html. Because I don't know how to do that offhand with Leptos. So I think this is the first thing we look into, and then we'll move stuff around a little bit. We'll do a little bit more of the architecture, define how we want to put things together, and then go from there. Yeah, I do. So like when I say like all in Rust, ideally I do want it very purely like all in Rust and all in JavaScript as much as you can, because I think if you, in this case, if you can see the extremes, all JavaScript, all Rust, and all JavaScript is fuzzy because we have it implemented in using React right now. So like air quotes around what you consider JavaScript. I think Leptos makes sense. I feel like that in my mind is kind of the with my personal preferences coming into play, Leptos feels to be in the lead of how I would want to think about UIs and how they would fit into Tauri well. Because there's a few of them, right? I don't know that the other options necessarily fit into the scope of Tauri as well as Leptos can. And we've done some streams on Leptos. And one of the things that we had talked about on the previous streams was using the functions within Leptos and having those automatically wire up the commands. So if we have sort of a base level to go off of, I think that'll make experimenting with that kind of stuff easier, which I'm partial to. So what do we need for Leptos? And actually, do we have a? Ooh, we might actually have a little bit of going on in the Tauri playground here. Yes. Okay. So this is actually copied from. I think this comes out of the Create Tauri app. It is still V1 though. So maybe the quickest way would to do a Create Tauri app, grab the Leptos bits that we need to use, and kind of copy and paste. That might be the fastest way to spin things up. We can see here like a source app RS. So we still get JSX-like syntax in the vein of maybe a little bit more like handlebars templating if we're making comparisons to what you might see in the JavaScript side of things. And here's a command. I think we can like look at wiring some of that up automatically, but that's definitely not going to be a thing now. And we're not really using commands in the system tray app currently. So for the most part, we're just going to need like an app RS that does this, very similar to what we have. I guess here and maybe in this. So like not too much going on. For the most part, it's just a header. Well, not even really a header, but I have that. Why do I have that in the header? That should really be in like the body or something. Doing dev on stream. You overlook those kind of things. For the most part, it's just buttons to trigger these APIs so people can test it out. And then the rest is left up to the person cloning it. So we're not going to have to do too much with Leptos. So I'm thinking that running create Tauri app is going to give us the best starting off point. And we can copy and paste those bits in as far as the Leptos integration goes. And I don't think we're going to actually need to do too much in the Tauri side to wire it up. So we've got a cargo.toml in the root of this, which is what pulls in Leptos. And it actually adds source Tauri as a workspace member. Okay. Yeah, I think we do that. So that'll give us Leptos with a little bit of front end. Then from there, we might need to tweak what we have here to get our system tray wired up. This is most of the way there, but some of the like focus bits and it showing up and disappearing, we implemented that in JavaScript. We'll have to do that here. So I think that's probably what we're going to shoot for today. And then we might, in follow-up streams, look at doing notifications and toast maybe. What does the toast look like? Let's check these APIs. So I think I can feel pretty confident about saying we can do the system tray stuff purely in Rust, or at least purely in Rust. Because there's like, when you think about it, now we have Rust and Rust. So there's like Rust front end and Rust back end. They kind of like overlap almost. So it'll be like, it's more doing the implementation in the back end rather than doing it. I mean, it is in Rust, right? But it's like front end Rust or back end Rust. I think push most of it to the back end Rust because that's where like if we look at notifications here. Oh, of course we don't have anything for notifications. We might need to like play around with that a little bit. Notifications might actually make sense to implement in Leptos because I think that's primarily where we're going to end up invoking these. TBD on that. I think there's Rust on top of this, so it's doing things. But this might be a good way to show how you can use these JavaScript APIs still in the front end that's written in Leptos. Because that wiring up seems to be a sticking point for folks sometimes. And then global shortcuts. All right. So if you're comfortable writing Rust and you're configuring shortcuts, one of the things that we were thinking about is having like a settings page. So that would be something on the front end that you can configure, in which case like you deploy the app and you can have a couple settings that you can like toggle on and off or whatnot. And that would be with the intent to like change these things. So if you need to, whatever reason, change your shortcut, you don't have to like rebuild the whole app to do that. If we do it in the setup of the Tauri builder, it's going to be a little bit more hard coded. Considering that, though, I think we start with we have this in the Rust backend, right? We could potentially do the same embedded into Leptos on the front end. And that starts to get where you get a little of the like the potential mixing. Like you could start from the template, the JavaScript template, and sprinkle in some of the Rust pieces. Like you could say, well, I actually want to handle the global shortcuts in the backend and just hard code it. Or I want to do the same with the system tray pieces of it. You could actually copy and paste from the Rust side of things into the JavaScript side of things. But then there's vice versa too. If we're doing Leptos in Rust, or for the front end in the Rust template, and that gives us the options to, if we want to implement things in Rust all the way through, we still have the option of like back end and front end effectively. So we can implement the bits that are, let's call it web view based. I think we can implement those still in Leptos. So you'd still be writing Rust, but it's a little bit more runtime focused then, in which case you could still do this like settings menu stuff. But I think as long as it's set up, the notifications I might make an exception for, but I think as long as it's set up all in JavaScript and all in Rust, I think we generally presume that's going to be in the backend. So like within the Tauri setup, in the Tauri builder, and any Leptos bits are, if you want to do those more in Leptos, have some of these APIs front end focused / runtime focused, then you can copy them from JavaScript. I think that's going to be like the high level idea that I'm thinking of. So the global shortcuts, we might be able to get to this today, because for the most part, I think this is something we can effectively copy and paste. Because in the setup of JavaScript, we're doing the same where we're hard coding it for the moment. So we might be able to get to this today, but system tray, global shortcut in the Tauri builder, Rust backend. And then the notifications, I mean, in some ways, like having this as a stub is sort of unfortunate. This Rust could theoretically go either way. And like that might be something where we want to like think about these tabs a little bit. This is pretty, like JavaScript is not going to run the backend. These are firing off invokes that then communicate with the backend. But Rust is a little bit more like ephemeral, not ephemeral. Murky. Rust could mean Rust front end in Leptos, or Rust backend in the Tauri builder. So that's something we'll think about. And like as we develop this stuff and we get examples for it, this would be a good way that we can help contribute to the docs too. Okay, so I think we have our plan. Notifications, system tray in the Rust builder. They're in the Tauri builder. And notifications in the web view with Leptos. We're going to start off, we've got our system tray, but what we're going to do is we're going to just spin up a quick create Tauri app. From there, we'll get Leptos. We're not really going to use any of it, so I'll probably end up deleting it at the end of the day, but we'll just copy and paste the bits over that we need. Then we'll go from there. Okay, project name, Leptos starter delete me eventually. Eventually, for clarification, means in 6 months. So you can see our options. We get vanilla, U, Leptos, and Sycamore. I think U was the first one. Definitely not implying that any of these are bad choices. I definitely have a little bit of a preference though for Leptos. Would you like to set up the project for mobile as well? No, we don't care about that. Nice. Have you used U, Nicola? I think I used it like right when we set up the first integration with it, like testing it out in Create Tauri app. I don't know that I've gotten into it too much since. You did? Cool. So let's do code, Leptos starter. Now, what are we working with? So there's a trunk.toml. This Leptos is Rust Analyzer is making my my camera glitch a little bit, at least from my end. Right away when it was released, you made a few websites with it, and it's awesome. Nice. Have you used any of the other ones? Have you used Sycamore or Leptos? I haven't actually like built anything production wise or remotely close with any of the Rust frameworks, so I'm far from one being able to comment from a strong position. I have a Rust or I have a React background though, so like this feels comfortable to me. Leptos, Never, and Sycamore you only heard of. One of them, I bet you, gotta rebuild your personal site. Yeah, oh my gosh. The amount of times I've rebuilt that thing. I like use up all. If you've heard of the idea of spoons, where you can represent your energy in spoons, um, rather than my spoons being allocated throughout the day. In terms of my personal website, they're like allocated throughout the year, and something stops working on the personal site. I spent all my spoons in like a week fixing it or converting it or migrating it or whatever, and then just don't have energy to come back to it. So it's just like a constant migration. I've been getting better at it though. For the most part though, I've found putting my energy in this makes me much more happy. So I just need to represent that better on the personal website. And speaking of rewriting a site with Leptos, Chris has got some videos. I think that's your best video, right? You rewrote all of Rust Adventure.dev in Leptos, and it took you like 6 months or something like that. And it turned out to be like your best video by far and away. Worth the effort. Okay, so we've got, I think this whole source directory is going to be pulled over. We have a bunch of these new capabilities. I guess I probably want to grab all of this, and then we can replace the bits that we want in main.rs. You're looking at the video this morning, 370K views right now. Nice. Yeah, that's definitely, especially in the programming space. That's definitely up there. Yeah, story driven videos is definitely a there's like the entertainment-y story driven, and then there's the like news type, and then there's the more like tutorial type. I feel like the news and the story driven are just like, and the more entertainment based ones are just like wildly more popular for a good reason. I mean, you can't spend a 8, 10, 12 hour day working and then go through a tutorial, or there's a much smaller slice of people that are going to be into that. So, and I guess that's part of why I like doing other diverge we're diverting again. I think that's kind of why I like doing more of the project-based learning, and the idea that I have an end goal, or like I've got a story about the thing that I'm working on. So rather than just saying I'm going to learn Rust, it's, well, I was trying to implement a Tauri app with a system tray, and I wanted to do it more purely in Rust, so I chose Leptos. And in doing all of that, I reached the goal and learned all these things along the way. There's a little bit of a story there. I definitely need to make the time to start making videos, though. I think this whole topic is probably going to be one of the first videos that I really dig into. Bracky shipped a tutorial video that's no, oh really? Okay. I feel like the discovery on YouTube is great in some ways, but really bad in other ways. There's just like people that I'm completely unaware of that are just like getting hundreds of thousands of views on topics that I'm interested in. And the intersection of the videos that I ended up seeing and their stuff is just never seems to cross until somebody's like, oh yeah, there's this popular person that I've never heard of. Okay, I think I'm actually just gonna like copy all these little bits over, because we're gonna need the bulk of this. So we VS Code. Do we grab the VS Code stuff? Yeah, YouTube is huge. It's funny, like they've basically like hit the limits of growth. The limit being they're serving like the whole world, like a third of the world or something like that. So like, where do you grow from there? I mean, they can get into games, and like they started dabbling with like games and whatnot, but when your audience is effectively the world, what other growth trajectories do you have? Capitalism starts to break down once you're dependent on more children or more people in the world. Capitalism really starts to break down. Okay, I'm gonna grab all these bits. Tauri lock. I think we probably want to maintain separate lock files. So I think the only thing I really don't need would be the target directory. I think we'll see if Windows and VS Code is going to let me do this, but I'm pretty sure this will work fine. We're going to rename this to just be old. Then we can copy and paste into here. And I guess I'll spin this up right away to JavaScript. Whoops, that is not a folder. Let's do. We can also like split it up into different frameworks too. I'm somewhat considering doing that now, but unless anybody argues otherwise, that's going to be for future us. No, just copy the thing. After the 9th consecutive increase in a year, the YouTube user base is estimated to reach 1.2 billion users, and therefore a new peak. Yeah, so only like 7 billion people left. I mean, it's like, in some ways, I think that's why Google was getting into investing in internet infrastructure, like the Google Fiber stuff, because like that was literally their growth trajectory. We need more people with better internet. The future is fragmented, and they have a problem. They can't fragment because there's a monopoly and they're constantly, yeah. The whole idea of constant growth is, I mean, I can see why there's interest from investors, but that's not always entirely sustainable. So I should not have done this through I should not have done this through this move through VS Code. Oh, do I still have this running? No, I don't have this running. Cool. We'll do little bits and pieces. I can just delete the node modules. So we are going to go back over here. I'm going to open up the Rust directory. Rust directory directly. Wow. Say that 3 times fast. Oh, interesting. It didn't merge those folders. Okay. I guess I don't. I'm kind of cool with that, actually. But we're going to want to do that ourselves. Replace. It's not what I wanted to do. Oh my gosh. Just stop. I thought it would merge the directories. It's literally replaced the directory. So it did the thing I was hoping for it to do. All right, now our REST analyzer is going. Oh my goodness. Why don't you want to copy over? Okay. 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 It doesn't like that as much. Okay. So unfortunately I lost my main.rs. We've got a whole host of changes here. Nope. Cancel. Rust source Tauri. I think I've got it in here somewhere. Now the question is going to be finding it. Oh my goodness. All right. Well, let's take a look at what we got right now. The downside of opening up this folder directly is that I don't have this git repo thing. And also, I suppose we can just do. I think we really straight away copied it from. Not this one. From here. So we didn't lose it. I mean, whatever. I wasn't super worried about it. Oh my goodness. Okay, I don't need the target directory. The operations on Windows for delete are definitely slow. That actually went way faster than I was expecting. Oh my goodness. I really should not be doing this through VS Code. But yes, delete, move. Okay, so this will we can copy and paste from GitHub into here to handle this. We got the icons very similarly to what we have in our other setup, capabilities, and we might need to merge some of this too, in terms of the names. I definitely need to change that name. Target, get ignore. Okay, so I think we can probably run this as is and then start working on the it really doesn't like moving these folders, does it? New folder, source, new folder, source, Tauri. No, don't update anything. Just do the move. It'll be a miracle if I don't break anything while doing this. Oh my. We're just try this. Okay. Oh, I don't understand why I was struggling doing those separate ones. All right, so we've got what I think is effectively going to be. I'm going to move this back out actually. I think this is basically going to be like our folder structure, and then we're going to have a snippets snippets slash dot get keep. Okay, I think this is going to be like our top level directory. README, snippets, Rust, JavaScript. We don't need this open anymore. Let's give that a close. All right, let us start trying things out here. We want to, I think I'll copy this over in the next step. We want to try running this first. So let's go Rust and do, we're now going purely Rust. So I need to do this. Does it install the, maybe it installs the, I wasn't actually watching. Does it install the CLI for you? Is each top level app going to be a whole different app? Whole different app, same implementation / concept. Yes. One for each extreme. So then the idea is that somebody would choose if they want to go purely Rust or purely JavaScript. And if they want a mix of the two, you should be able to pick a foundation and have some level of like copying one into the other. So like if Rust has a bunch of this in the Tauri builder and you wanted to pick JavaScript as your foundation, you could take those Tauri builder pieces and drop them into the JavaScript one. And then the idea with snippets is we can have sort of like encapsulated API pieces or concepts or ideas. So something like file system can get a little bit involved, especially when you start thinking about permissions. So it's going to be maybe a little bit of documentation and or a little bit of like, I mean, I guess even theoretically we could write little Rust scripts or something to do the like copy it into the right spots. But that definitely the first implementation would be like little bits and pieces that you can copy and paste into these apps as a foundational piece and just start building up from there. So like file system would be, like a quick find or watching or monitoring type thing. Okay, so we got the app that's working. Like what would be other snippets? I can imagine somebody wants to maybe do something with SQL. So like a SQLite database to where you can just start dumping data. That might be a nice snippet to have. Some of this is going to be, we have examples in the docs. So maybe a little bit of back and forth where the docs aren't terribly robust at the moment, at least in some places. As we would work in snippets, we might be able to effectively if it ends up being primarily documentation for that snippet, that could then start to shift into the actual Tauri docs. We can make PRs for that, in which case the things we need to document or otherwise do in the snippet could kind of go away. So I think there'll be a little bit of a back and forth as far as that goes. But like, I could see WebSockets, like SQL snippet. Those are probably going to be some of the bigger ones. Like barcode scanner, biometric. I don't think there's a big amount of use cases for those. But Alexander, thank you for stopping by. So we've got Leptos with Tauri, and with the default Tauri app, create Tauri app, we don't get any of the system tray stuff. So let's copy and paste this piece over and see if we can get that rolling. Because all this is really doing is, all big air quotes here, we'd be effectively modifying the setup. I guess we really don't need the system memory. So we can copy this bit, and we're gonna end up adding a setup to this base, which will then start to spin up the system tray stuff for us. Where am I looking here? Main RS. So the default thing that comes out of create Tauri app doesn't have this. Tauri plugin shell. I might actually want, I don't think we actually have this in the other one, but we might actually want to keep that plugin, because if we go back, let's go back and look at the docs. Shell allows you to access the shell system and spawn child processes. Like, I think this might make more sense as a snippet, but I think there's going to be a use case for it to where somebody wants to like set up a little runner or like an activity process monitor, or if you're running a bunch of servers, kicking off Docker processes, that kind of thing, like a little monitoring app, I think would be interesting. So I can see use cases for shell. We don't have it in the other one though, and I feel like that's going to be a little bit more of a snippet type thing. So what I'm going to do is, I don't know if there's a specific reason we have it in the create Tauri app. I'm going to pull this in, and we're probably going to do some stuff with our imports menu. I think it's going to be these. I don't think we want commands. And I don't think I care about the invoke handler at the moment. Do we even have it in this one? I guess I have it in the system memory. Do we have it in JavaScript? Here, we'll just go here now. And main RS. No. Okay, so we've got the notification and the global shortcuts. That's all that we have. So I'm gonna take this out. No. Could not find Trey and Tauri. I wonder if one of the APIs updated and things have moved around a little bit since we did that. Which actually, I think we did fix in that one file. Is there? What do we got? Could not find Trey. Yeah. Now that we have some of this stuff resolved. Let's see if we can recall it from the get history. I didn't actually like stash it or change it or anything like that. I think I had just let it sitting there. So we might end up having to just refix those little bits and pieces. Unfortunately. Oh. 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 Oh no, that's the piece that I just pulled in, right? Yeah. That's kind of unfortunate. Oh well. So I guess we gotta fix these couple things. Not the end of the world, but it is something we need to do. Here, let's just put that over there. Yeah, so we'll fix this stuff, and then is there anything else that we need to pull over? We have some config. Indexed HTML is, I mean, I've got a VTAP right up there. These names here, name app. Definitely a little bit of polish that is going to be useful here. We can make this one minor. Build RS feels fine. Main RS, we just did that, copy and paste. Gen capabilities. Let's look at the Tauri configuration. So this is probably going to be the bit where we want to. Nice. I'm going to set the identifier back because what I want to do. Yeah, it's in there already. Press the wrong shortcut. No, now it's too small to grab anything. All right. Let's try that again. There we go. I still had my keyboard in Mac mode, and those keys are swapped. All right. So then the product name. I'm actually going to move these up. And I think I want these to be the same. I don't see any reason not to make them the same. I actually do like this structure better, having build first. Oh. Helps to put it in the right spot. Build. So here we got trunk. So this is Leptos is using trunk to handle the builds, and trunk does the WASM and like WASM pack, right? If I recall correctly. With global Tauri is important because within Leptos we're not going to be doing like imports in the way you might with when you're running things with like a JavaScript bundler. So if you're running it with Webpack, you could do an import, and Webpack is going to build all the things and like handle all those imports for you. We just want all of the Tauri APIs injected. If we set up the plugin, we just want it injected that we can just use that global directly. And it's always in there. This flag sort of like lists the visibility, so it's not like there's no real security consideration with this. It's more of just a moving it from like this should only, this is an internal API to sort of surfacing that API less internally, I guess would be a way to say it. I think this window is going to be the same. So we'll copy the window. The CSP, we might actually want to come back to that in our JavaScript side of things. CSP null is probably fine for the moment. We have some like these bits here. I'm not going to copy those over yet. We might eventually need some of this. But I think for the most part, like this isn't, I'm not specifically targeting folks that are going to take this and release it. At least not in a way that would be like released on the store that signing would be valuable. I expect the people using this will have a small audience, potentially an audience of one. I think that's good for configuration. Now we just need to get the main.rs working. So there's going to be a little updating that we need to do. Unresolved import. Could not find tray in Tauri. So I don't think we actually have any system tray docs yet either. So we're going to have to go to where's the link to Rust docs? We moved it around a little bit. I guess. Okay, so 2.0 beta 16. We want to look at, okay, so there's tray. This might actually be fine. We might just need to double check on our features. So pull this back over. The Corgo, Corgo.toml. The cargo.toml features are going to be the same between our projects. So we can copy that. The thing that I think is going to be different though is the permissions. The more we do on the front end, the more we need to like open up our sandbox that is the web view to do those functions. So the default is like the sandbox is completely locked down, and there's no expectation to fire off the Tauri APIs unless you like opt into it. Since JavaScript is a little bit more of the runtime side of things, and it's a little bit harder to inject things into the like Rust backend of it. We don't want the web view like doing things at runtime that you haven't specifically opted into it to do. It isn't going to prevent every potential security issue. It's going to alleviate the possibility of those. Or maybe not alleviate the possibility. It's going to, you're reducing your attack vector service. You're never going to completely eliminate everything. It's just make the surface area as small as possible. Makes it much harder to combine these surface areas in a way to create vulnerabilities. All right, so we've got everything says it's working now. We might need to deal with that, but let's give it a run. So cargo Tauri dev. I'm expecting to see this error because I'm presuming that that my ID is giving me correct information here. Yeah. So no field X untyped Tauri tray icon event. Unknown field. So if we go, what are our options there? We've got, position. I think that's correct. Okay. So, and also need to spell it correctly. That is helpful. We did tweak the sizing a little bit, I think. So this is where we're going to end up comparing our here. So we get a tray app. It starts off really small. No drag region, but we should see our system tray item here. So the idea is that when we're clicking it, it's opening up this, and when we right click it hides it, or we can choose hide there. That functionality there is a little bit awkward because what we want to do is use the same decisions we made for the JavaScript side of things. Where would the, oh yeah, app API and setup tray. So we're going to be going back and forth just a little bit between these two. We're subscribing to events here, and we're getting the click type because we want to handle two different scenarios. So if the click type is right, which we have here, we are hiding the window. Okay, you need to go away, please. And if the click type is left, we want to do these functions. Right now we're debugging. I'm going to leave that in there for right now. So we are grabbing a handle to the window. We're showing it with a specific size, 300 by 400. That seems to still be fine. We're setting that size. We're getting some positioning. Here I actually chose to do 30 instead of the 70 that we had originally determined. I'm going to mirror that. We're setting the position, and then we're setting the focus. So what we've then done is when we click this, it shows up there, and when we right click, it should hide it. We are setting up the tray with a tooltip. I guess we're not doing too much with the menu at the moment, though. That might actually be in the other file where we're implementing it. I think that's about it that we have here. We'll add the tooltip, though. That would be, I think that's on menu. Try into, what do we have? App. So app is mute. I don't remember. Items, build, unwrap. Oh, icon. Oh, it's on this, I think. It's dot tooltip. Tooltip. Here we go. So that takes S, which we'll see if I could get my static string stuff right. What do we call it? We did. Oh, we set the tooltip interview. So when we first set this up, we gave it a tooltip. Personal tray app. So basically the same here. we get our little app, and the tooltip works. So the first, and I thought we set this in the config. Okay, please go away now. In our config, source Tauri, the configuration, we have the full screen false, resizable true, decorations false, always on top true, center true, visible true. We forgot to turn that off. That is why it's not working as expected. Let's do the same here. So now when it loads, we change the configuration. The watcher is set up to automatically rebuild and reopen the app. We are going to get potentially multiples. No, we're not. Okay, cool. So now it's only going to show when we click, and then right click hides it. I think I'm still kind of okay with that. The reason that JavaScript ends up showing multiple every time we rebuild is we're refreshing and remounting the app, and the way we had our, and this is a little bit of the downside of the runtime bits. When you load the app in a release, it's opening and mounting once. When you're running it in dev, you have hot module reloading through, in our case, we used feet. Every time you make a change, there's a watcher that then rebuilds and remounts the app. Every time you mount the app, you're getting a new tray because we are setting the tray here. So in a use effect on mount. So empty brackets, no dependencies, just one amounts. That's why we're getting a whole bunch of these system tray icons. It's not a problem when we put it in the Tauri builder setup because that's only running once. It's like culling the app and rebuilding the whole app incrementally, of course. And that's why we only see it once, which is nice. So do we have anything else as far as menus go? Okay, we had this handle add menu item. So I guess we don't really do anything with menu items at the moment. We just set it up in a way to where you could add them. I think we're going to want to eventually change that. We can't really do that here. I think what I'm going to do is comment this out. Because I think this is going to be a better default. Show how to do it. It feels nicer, and I like. We're gonna need to add a quit in there somehow, but I think that's gonna feel nicer for the Rust implementation. So then we can say something like, these variables are an example how to add menu items to the system tray. Which then need to be added to the menu builder dot items. Yeah, I think that's good. And we have this. So we're listening to specific events. We have a quit, hide, and show. And then we also have when somebody left clicks, we're doing some work to show the window. this is specifically the web view window. And keep in mind, you can have more than one web view window. In some ways, we're kind of using this as like a mini app view, or potentially like a replacement in some ways of what you might see with the menu items. So that being said, do we have a way to, so like when I click on this, I'm not seeing any menu items right now, right? Ooh. Right click there. We are not actually considering any menu events. These menu events, though, are sort of like on top of the built-in functionality. I'm not terribly keen with when if you single click. I like it that it shows here. The problem is you also see the items. I think I'm going to just comment this out for the moment, and we will deal with that in the future. We will deal with that in the future, as well as listening for events in the tray icon builder dot on menu event. I think I'm okay with this interaction. I do want to do the focus. So what we have set up with our default tray here is we've got this listener. If the focus changes, we want to just hide the window, because when we are clicking it, we are setting the focus. So this is the bit that I want to see if we can implement. Here we're doing an app handle to get the web view. And I kind of wonder if, could we do that with a closure too? Because we have an app handle here, right? So this should give us a emit default window icon, listen. So we can listen here. Unlisten, borrow. So like if we did a listen, we are going to be listening for a specific event and then doing a thing. You paused it. I never stop talking unless when I stop talking. The jokes don't get better, folks. Okay, so we have an app handle here. I don't know that I actually need to do this bit, because we're using the tray icon from the event to get the app handle with a specific web view. Like, I think we could theoretically do it here and just pass this down. So we have a handle to that window. But is that the way to do it? You're here for the jokes? Hey, Caroline. Really? I thought my jokes were just tolerated. Or was I misunderstanding those eye rolls that were I could never actually see. I could just feel. So the app handle get web view window. I think let's try putting these in like a closure type thing. Actually, no. They are respected. I think I need to say thanks. Okay, so one of the things that I'm not terribly adept with, but I know people run into in Rust is a thing called ownership. So when you're working with JavaScript, it's not terribly uncommon to write a thing at a top level and use it in a closure. So it'd be kind of like define a global or a global within that scope, and then use it in functions that are like children within that scope. Because of the memory constraints, no, not constraints, the guardrails that Rust puts around the memory, ownership ends up being a thing that you need to consider that helps to deal with like that type of stuff where you define a variable and at some point you need to get rid of it and clean up that memory rather than having to manually do it. The whole ownership model assists you in doing that. So I think closures are less of a thing in Rust. Arc RW lock everywhere in Rust. Oh my goodness. So I think I'm actually going to leave this, but here I believe what we want to do is just fire off a listen. I haven't actually used this API, but it looks like you just listen to the thing, and anytime we get the event, we're gonna print it. Actually, that's going to be a good way to start. Let's do this, because what I want to do is I want to listen to. We did it in the same way when we were implementing it in JavaScript. We set up the event and just console log, dump out information so we can sort of observe it. We should have some helpful. No, we don't. Maybe. We want to listen to. I thought it was going to help us out a little bit more here. What's event? Event. So, like, what would the event be? There must be a list of events somewhere. This will be on the window. So from the app, we are listening for events. Oh, and I guess I had the app handle in there too. I didn't actually need that. We're listening for events, so it would be at the app level. So I think let's just search for listen. Maybe that's going to be faster. App handle listen. So there's app handle listen and app listen. I think we only want to listen for events. Okay, well, thanks. Event ID? Well, that is not terribly helpful. What's the app handle listen? Does that give us anything different? No. Same docs? I guess like we want to just listen to, yeah. Okay, I think component loaded. I mean, we don't want that event, but I think this is more in line with what we want because we only want it on that one window. Arbitrary event name, I guess. I mean, they're definitely like defined. We might be able to pull that out actually from the JavaScript side of things. Event, tray icon event. No, I want to go to I don't have it installed. Let's do that real quick. Personal tray app and JavaScript. Gonna just do an install quick while we're sitting here. So I think it defines it in the TypeScript, but we can start with this. Let's get this working though. We need so we have app and app get window unwrap. Oh, this one. App mute app get window. No method named get window found for mutable reference. Is that just outdated? That might just be outdated. Because I think the app handler stuff, or the window handler stuff got nested. So app dot get web view window label. Ah, that feels right. Let's give that a shot. Okay. So now we should get print line anytime that event fires. Yeah, sure. Yep. We're fine with that. And we don't have a window, so we should be able to click this. I don't see the event. I don't see it there either. So we're getting the left click events. Interesting. Do we have these defined anywhere? I mean, yes, it's a string, but okay. And then it's got an unlisten. We no longer need to listen once we have used it once, sure. The from implementation will have to have it. Oh, okay. So if we go listen, function once, I am not seeing the from implementation. Oh, you misread the signature. Yeah, it's into string. Yeah, no worries. I kind of would expect these to be like string is very. I mean, in some ways, I think you can define your own custom events. So, string, I guess. I'm assuming that would be the reason for it. But otherwise, like you could define these as like enums or whatever, right? All right, let's go back to JavaScript. Hey, Amr. Actually, you might know this offhand. Window listen. Do we have a list of events anywhere for the REST side of things? Putting you on the spot. Sorry. I thought I remember seeing one at least on the JavaScript side of things, but and I presume that they're the same. So if I can pull it out of like this, maybe not this. What are we doing? We're doing the. So we want to find the. We want to know when the window loses focus. It could still be an enum. Yeah. I agree. I'm guessing it was easier just to say custom string and then no one ever came back to it. We want to, so the interaction that we have in JavaScript is when we click on the tray icon, we give it focus. When it loses focus, I want it to hide the window. So I want to listen for an event on that window in which I can then close that window. And we have it implemented in JavaScript there, but we've got like on focus changed. Is there actually, now that we've got a handle to the window, is that just built right into the window? On message on window event. Oop, what's a window event? Yes. Nope. Nope. Oh. Okay. Calm down. F. Web view window sends static window event. Window event. Resized. Yeah. Yeah. Okay. Cool. So the listen, is that intended just more for generic events? In which case, it's like that's specifically user-defined events, or rather, maybe the better way to say it is, listen is the generic implementation of which we then assumptions here we then use for these more specific use cases. So theme change, drag and drop, focused. So we want an on window event of focus. You gonna help me out? Is it a string? So stuff. Yep. What am I reading wrong here? Enum window event. Got it. Great. Enums are implemented. Now I need to remember how to use them. It is, let's see. Our enum is window event. So I think it is window event this and focused false. It's not complaining too much, which is, I might qualify that as some progress. So now what do we do with this? So on window event, registers a window event listener. That's an impl on the, or it's on the web view window impl. Builder, run on main thread, label on window event. This takes, oh. Do we just give it a function then? Pass the callback, yeah. Yep. So then we want, I think basically something like this still, right? This is I am definitely more adept at the JavaScript side of things. So I'm appreciating this. I'm appreciating doing this because this helps like flex those muscles that I don't get to flex very often. Well, parsing the struct. Import, sure. So that should be, yep, right there. Okay. Try naming a field. Focused. Like this? Is that what it's expecting? Okay, that seems better. You need a field name. What's the error saying here? Expected one argument, found two. Ah, okay. You're just passing the value. It's like a JS object. Got it. So then this is right then, right? Focused, false. Okay. So then f, where f is the function for the window event. I am failing to read the syntax. Reference to self and then function. So it should just be taking one arg, right? Check the event inside the callback. Expected one argument, found two. So that would be that's this whole on window event, right? Yeah, just one arg, just the function. Oh, okay. Are we in something like, no. So on window event takes a function. Do we not give it to the event then? Expected one arg, found two. So like we still need the window event, right? So like this is not going to be correct because it's just firing off the function, right? Do we need to do, I definitely need to get better at I feel like I can't keep it in my brain, like this stuff. So here, so move window. On window, on menu event, we move window and an event. And then we're checking it. So like this is what we're talking about, right? Except instead of I just blitzed my closure is expected to take one argument, but it takes two. So this is going to be event, which is of one of those types, right? So then the event is going to be a window event. Okay. We're getting there. So then it would be like this is going to be a type of window event. So we'd do something like if, like in the same vein, right? If event.id is, just save menu ID. Save menu item ID. Okay. So we then effectively end up doing the comparison here. So logic for which to think about. Can we do, I guess we can do a debug. Well, no, we don't need it. We should be able to do like an if event clone into borrow format type ID. And type ID is I think Rust Analyzer just decided to give up on me. There we go. Save worked. If matches. Ooh, I like that. Yes. Honestly, like matches, I think somebody made a proposal for it in JavaScript. So then we would do what? Event. Do we just do event? If matches event. And then we unexpected end of macro invocation. Oh, do we have to put it inside because it's a macro? Yeah, okay. If match is bar, and then you just do it in line. Yeah, I love the matches syntax in Rust. There's been, oh, hi Kitty. There's been proposals to add it to JavaScript. I would love it if it hit JavaScript, or just if let equal. I think that's probably fine here because we only care about the one event right now. So if, yeah, you let else here myself. I'm kind of thinking so because that's the only thing I care about, right? So if we do like let event dot, now we need like a what was that, 2ID or something like that, menu. Wait, are you saying like in the matches? Are we still thinking in the matches? Type ID. This is like programming Rust by mobbing cringing. I see you in the comments. Before you write that comment, I'm aware. My Rust needs work, and that's why I'm working on it. Not you all specifically watching, but in the previous, I've had comments of like, "Oh, this is so painful to watch." All right. Yeah, my Rust skills. No, see, I would say that pun, but they're not rusty. They're in the process of getting to the point where like there's like multiple steps of learning. And I do it so seldom that like every step might be rusty, but my overall Rust skills, there's bits and pieces that are rusty, but the overall car is, I mean, it has some paint on it. I mean, the paint would have been awful if I didn't have Rust Analyzer. But you know, like it's manageable. Think through what you need, what you want, and pick one way, and then you can always refactor later. Thanks for laughing at my jokes, Carolyn. I appreciate it. The unexpected end of macro invocation. Okay, so like all I care about right now is I just want this one event. So I don't think I even really care about the matches. We have an event, and it's this, which is then focused. So all I really need is a comparison. I just want to say if this event is of this type, then do this. Whoop, not that. I pressed the Mac shortcut, not the Windows one. There we go. Okay, so I just want to do a comparison. Pseudocode, and we'll come back to it. This is JavaScript. Focused. Like that would be the JavaScript equivalent-ish. So I want to do event dot, I think type ID is the one to do, right? And is type ID, wait, is type ID a string? Oh, simplest just match enum. Just straight up do a match statement. I guess that's probably, I do really like the match syntax. That's probably easiest. And like honestly, there might be other events that we want to think about it in the future. But like, where's the? I mean, this just this is clean. Yeah, let's do that. And we can yeah, do match event dot. Can we do type ID here? Type ID? Does that work? Oh, that's why it's complaining. So then I can do the match statements here, and hopefully this starts to help us out a little bit. Should that be type ID to type ID gets the type ID of self? You don't need type ID because you can match structure and the event type. Got it. So now we can do this then, right? And whoop, I almost pressed the wrong shortcut again. So then we can do this. We can do this. Oh, focused false. Cool, cool. And what's the default syntax? You can like do a default, right? Yeah, thank you. Yes, okay. Now we should get a rebuild. We should get a system tray app. We'll click it, and this is going to give us a print line when it loses focus. So click, click. It has focus right now. We click in it. We're still not getting any events. We click out of it. I mean, the print line is kind of awkward, but you know, ta-da. So this ends up being, anytime we get this event, now what we can do is call something like this, where we do a window, window.hide. So when this window then loses focus, that's when we could call the that to hide the window. And I think I could probably just grab this. Now I think that's going to be fine, right? No. Because we need, this is the ownership thing that I was talking about, that I knew I was going to run into, and cannot move out of window because it is borrowed. Move out of window occurs here. And yeah, move occurs due to use in closure. So we can do, we're moving event. Can we then do a, are we able to do like a window here as well? Closure is expected to take one argument, but it takes two. Okay. Window. So we need the window here. So we need this. Why do we got the binding window declared here? I don't know why I've got all these like the little 3-dot things here. Oh, it's probably because of this move warning. How about getting the window inside the closure with another app handle? I think I'm tempted to say get another hook to the app handle. Or is there more ease of use Amr, that you're thinking of using clone? So like the clone would be let window for real. Oh, snake case. For real. Like this would work, right? Does it not matter as far as like how much do we need to care about cloning the window? Or is that sort of a best answer is it depends? Because like I think the alternative would Taquan. I don't think I said hi. Thanks for stopping by. Is it Taquan? Let me know if I'm saying that right. I would like to not mispronounce your name. So if we do like an event, what is on event? Guess we really don't have too much as far as like getting the app handle here would be a little annoying. I guess what we could do, would it work with the basically doing the same here? Because now we got to think about the app, because the app closure stuff too. It should be relatively cheap to clone. Okay. I guess that probably feels awkward to just have two window handles. Yeah. What should we do? Maybe window. We'll say window, and then we'll say window.clone window hider. Lovely naming. Lovely naming scheme. So I think that's gonna do what we needed to do. What else do we got with unused import menu art item builder? Guess we can take that out for now. We'll add a comment here. It will be imported from this. The first two words are actually your surname. Oh yeah. That's a thing. I always forget about that. So thanks for stopping by, Minlong. Clearly, well, maybe not clearly, but US used to the more used to the US naming. I guess it's kind of a like North American naming scheme is generally surname last. Is that applicable to? I don't remember what South America does. I don't know if that's just a North American thing. Yeah, it's pretty common in Europe too. That's a fun thing about Vietnamese. Nice. Do you live in Vietnam? I've always kind of wanted to go to Vietnam, but for me, it's on the other side of the world. It's hard to justify half my vacation flying. So I need to make those kind of trips a multiple week thing to make it worthwhile. I have a good friend from college that I think his last big trip was to Vietnam, and oh man, I was jealous. Okay, I think this is good. Let's try. Click, lose focus, go away. Cool. We'll take this out so we don't have more warnings. Kitty's saying hello. Say hi. Can you say hi? Thank you. Polite kitty. We have the mini events we have commented off right now. If you, oh hi, yes, I'm aware you're right there. If you use the menu items, we'll handle events here. So I think the only other thing that we might want to think about is, at least today, can we throw in where is it? Global shortcuts. I think we can throw in global shortcuts real quick. So then that would give us next week, because we haven't gotten into Leptos too much today. It is, as you can see, it is still very much the default like Leptos app. I think it's going to make the most sense to do notifications within Leptos, within the context of Leptos. Very much in the scheme of this, because I think generally you're going to be firing off and using them there. Also, this, but I think this could actually warrant potentially a second tab where it's like Rust front end, Rust Tauri setup, Tauri builder. Because I think you can set these up within that. But then like that send notification handle starts to get, you'd have to think about that. So some of this might end up living in commands, in which case you're still sort of tying it to that front end anyways. So we'll save notifications for next time. Let's throw in the global shortcuts real quick. I am going to use this because we don't have it set up in this app yet. And it will handle, let's make sure I've got everything saved. Yes, this will handle a handful of things for us, which is nice. Some of which is updating the cargo.toml and adding it to the plugins list. But also generally this handles the permissions too, which is nice. What I'm curious though is, okay, so this doesn't actually seem to affect it all. If we run it through cargo, is it expecting that we're doing this in the front end or the back end? Because I think, I don't know if we need the permissions or not. I haven't actually like tested this out. So we will we'll find out together. Let's start this up. We unfortunately don't have gets shown here. What did it do with that other window? Here. We got so many changes now, it's gonna be hard to see. I don't know if it actually added anything to thanks for stopping by, Amr. Appreciate the help as always. If you're unfamiliar with Amr's work, see lots of Tauri. Amr's quite involved, and all the APIs that I enjoy using is probably stuff that Amr touched. So I always appreciate the help. I don't think it updated this. Let's run it, see what happens, and go from there. They have it set up in the setup. They have it initialized in the setup. Maybe that's a better way to say it. These bits I don't think we're going to need because we have the okay there. I'm not going to put in this flag because I mean, I guess it is only desktop, but like the intent is this is only going to really be used on desktop. So I'm not going to worry about it too much, I think. We got our setup here and the OK. Oop. I think we basically just dump it down here. Well, I'm going to have to move that use. Global shortcut setup. And we're going to do the same up here. System tray setup. And I think potentially we could pull these out into separate functions or separate like little mini crate pieces and then pull them in from there. But I'm not too worried about that right now. So shortcut modifier, right now the shortcut is Control and N. And I'm not terribly keen on that being a value we used. I don't know that I'm terribly keen on the value that we used in JavaScript either. But we might as well make them the same and deal with it later. So we use Control Alt Space. Yeah, I'm not terribly keen on that either. Okay, so we got modifiers control. So this would be code. Is there a code space? Space. So control space. Modifier control. And we've got alt. What's alt graph? So I guess alt. Oh, mods. Okay, so mods takes an option of modifiers. So sum is t. If we want to do multiple, that's not this, is it? Modifiers and alt. Does sum do that? No, I didn't think so. So how do we do two modifiers? All right, actually, let me. Can I do alt? Alt space. Nope. Control space. Nope. Windows space? I don't think I can really do the Windows key as a modifier. At least not easily. Yeah, Control N is kind of annoying too. Okay, well, I guess I was to say let's figure this out later, but I don't think that's gonna happen. So we need sum, and we need another sum for that modifiers. But this doesn't. Yeah, so it takes two args, not three. So we need to somehow combine these two mods into a single option, because this takes I don't know that offhand. Do we have any more examples with that? We don't need Leptos right now. Let's go to the Rust API docs, Except this isn't the plugin. We want to go to docs, here, docs, create Tauri. What is this? What is this plugin called? I think I can just do this and do this. There might be an enum modifier that is a combined key. Oh, it doesn't like that anyways. So it would be control. See control. Like if we click on the modifiers, we see alt. Yeah. Keyboard types, modifiers. Like I don't see them here. I don't see it because we're using modify. Okay, so it is re-exported. We can double check the docs. So I mean, unless I'm doing something wrong, Minlong, let me know. Tauri plugin global shortcut. And this is on beta 3. We want to look at modifiers. It has the list of modifiers. Shortcut wrapper, shortcut. Never tried that plugin. Yeah, no problem. I am always down to try things out. We used it in JavaScript. This is the first time I'm using it in Rust. Creates a new hotkey to define hotkey shortcuts throughout your application. Okay, matches, turns true. Try from. I don't see anything that's jumping out at me as key modifiers. Returns the set containing all flags. All. Okay, so if we do, I don't know if we have to still wrap it in that, but so modifiers all, and then we can do not that one. Modifiers and control and modifiers. And what was I going to do? Alt. So what does alt take? This function takes 0 arguments, but 2 arguments for supplied. Returns the set containing all flags. Oh, got it. That's literally all of them. So to do all the modifiers, use intersects. Returns true if there are flags common to both self and other. I don't know that these are the pieces that I want. Hash from iter, not. This would be a nice thing to add to the docs. So here we've got this is sort of an example on how to do multiple. Here we only have the one. I mean, it could be. I'll be surprised if it only lets you do one here. Um, constants, alt graph, caps lock. And we could try something else for the moment. I guess caps lock in space. Sure, let's just do caps lock in space. I don't feel like solving this right now, to be honest. Okay. This function takes 2 arguments, but 1 argument was supplied. So something is off with this. Tauri plugin global shortcut. Let's look at this. I'm assuming that this is going to be the most. Whoa. I accidentally middle clicked. Shortcut, perhaps? Is this going to have any? Let's open this would have examples. I mean, technically that is not valid anymore, but app handle plugin. The builder. Okay. I mean, all that seems to make sense. Provide the argument value move app shortcut. Public functions set mute self other modifiers value bool. Definitely not grokking that. So you're saying that set public function set. Is there a set on something? Shortcut. So I'm guessing that like this feels right. I mean, it's not control N shortcut, but whatever. What other methods do we have here? There's builder. Okay, so we've got code. Yeah, okay. So then builder has new with handler with shortcut. But I guess we might want to do multiple shortcuts. So I am tempted to do this actually as a match statement. Type ID into default, because I think this is going to be much more likely to have multiple that we would care about. Yeah, I think so. Might be related and the insert function. App handle with handler. I don't see an insert function. I feel like I'm completely missing what you're pointing to. So what's the with? Oh, I guess there's a with shortcuts. What's the with shortcuts? Add multiple shortcuts to be registered. So this is the app global shortcut register. with handler with shortcut. Add a shortcut to be registered. What does it say? Specify a global shortcut handler. So this would be, I'm presuming, in line with registering them. So this is like setting up the plugin, and then from here we can also register it. So I would presume that we have something where we can do like register all. Oop. There's also an on shortcut. I just saw that. Register a shortcut with a handler. So there's a couple ways we could put it together. Interesting. The modifier struct in the docs. Oh, I got it. Set. Got it. Yeah. I'll come back to that. So you're talking about the modifier caps lock, or versus, I mean, I was using what, control alt space or something like that. I'm not really keen on that as a default either. I think we'll have to think a little bit about what's going to be a good default that isn't widely used, because it wouldn't be a good experience for you to start the app and it just fail because you've got this hotkey set already. All right, so this feels good. I'm okay with what it's doing. And this function takes 2 arguments, but 1 argument was supplied. So what does it take? Provide the argument value. App handler and shortcut. The register is pretty similar to the, okay. Yeah. I'm fine with this, I think. Can you like chain, you probably can't chain multiple together, but I don't know. I can't imagine people are going to be doing too many of them. So like this feels easy enough. Copy and paste. Okay, so what it's saying is that it takes 2 arguments, but 1 argument was supplied. So what's an argument of type Tauri plugin builder is missing? Value move app shortcut. So what's the value? It looks like I am supposed to put something as the first arg, but I don't know what it would be expecting. Shortcut. See if this gives us anything else. So there's register all on all shortcuts. I almost feel like on all shortcuts would be nice. And then you could embed it into a match. Can be used to register a plugin that is loaded dynamically after login. For plugins that are created when the app is started, prefer builder.plugin. I mean, we've got, what is the example here? Okay, so in this case, we have builder default set up. We're not actually registering it at all. Or we are registering the plugin here. We also have this. It's building it already. We don't actually need that because like it just shows up here. So I think we could actually do, rather than doing this, we can say app.global shortcut dot so there's going to be a register and then an on. So register multiple shortcuts with a handler. Shortcuts and handler. Okay. Shortcuts is in what's S? On all shortcuts. S. Into iterator. So can we do something like control and shortcut? And then we got to do handler still. Do we need to do the into iter too? So then handler would be a move shortcut. Then can we just match directly on it? Thanks for that feedback, Tom. I definitely do want to get into the mobile stuff more. It is still in beta. It is a first pass. I don't expect anybody to assume it's going to take over the world before it's even stable. It's like all software. It starts out bad and you make it better. I'm interested to see how it is going to work out though, because there's a couple things to think about. Like there's the compile times and what the compile is doing for you. There's safety checks in using Rust. And that may be something that's beneficial. Depending on what you're doing though, that might not actually be a benefit, and you're still using a system web view. If you can use the same code cross-platform for the most part, that's also something that's interesting, but then you could do that with React Native too. So I think I am going to be interested in what the performance profiles look like, how using a system web view comes into play over, I think React Native is in some ways using a system web view, but I am interested to see how it all pans out. I by no means am going to assume that it's going to be the best implementation on the first pass, though. It's going to be iterative. So the fact that you were qualifying it as such, it's not constructive. It doesn't really help. And if you want to use something else, nobody's telling you not to. Okay, so we are doing a match and add semicolon here. Sure. Oh. Can we just on everything right now? Do like a print line. So on all shortcuts, closure is expected to take 2 arguments, but it takes 1. Register multiple shortcuts. So into iterator items. Into iter should give me an iterator, so I think that's fine. But it takes 1. Expected closure that takes 2. So what's the second arg for handler? shortcuts and handler. Function is app handle and shortcut. Got it. So in reality, we should be doing this. So that should get rid of that. We are getting use let to ignore the resulting value. Let equals. Sure. Oh, is it saying for this whole thing? Does this return a result? I guess. You can pass a static string then parse to the register function. The shortcut wrapper can be parsed from string. Okay. So that would be, this is a hotkey. Oh, shortcut. This shortcut wrapper? No. It's this shortcut wrapper, right? Where does this come to play? Freeze, try from the register function. Got it. Okay, looking at the register function. So register takes shortcut. Got it. So you can pass a static string and then parse. Okay. I think I think this feels the best to me because we can define a shortcut and then we just register them all, like list them here. I don't know if I need this into iter. Do we? So like, yeah, what does items take? That's a iter, right? Items. Nope. Okay. So maybe I do. And shortcut, we can match on shortcut. So that would be the hotkey. So this I think is going to trigger on all of them. Unless I get a hard error. Looked like it might have crashed there. I think because this does on all shortcuts. This registers multiple shortcuts with a handler. So I think this is doing everything for us. We've already wired up the plugin to Tauri through the dot plugin and done new and build. I don't think we need to do these bits, in which case this feels like a much better fit. So now it is running. We can see it's running here. So we are looking for caps lock space. So if I do cap lock space, there we go, detected. So what we can then do is we'll say just shortcut not it's capturing my my output. Shortcut not handled. So then this could be can we do it's a reference to, this is a hotkey. So if we do like this, shortcut pressed. I'm definitely gonna have to change this off of caps lock, but we can deal with that. This feels the best to me because it's sort of all encapsulated. Unused variable. Maybe I'm not doing that right then. Does it give me a shortcut? Shortcut dot ID, try into, type ID. returns the ID associated. So that would be the U32. That's not going to be a great experience. I mean, I guess I could do. Is this going to give me an ID? Control L and shortcut clone ID. So I guess this does have an ID as well. So if we did ID, can we then, we essentially are matching on a U32. Reference shortcut dot ID. Doesn't like that. Fat arrow. Oh. Expected fat arrow. I think I need the. Maybe that's not a great maybe that's not a great experience. So this would be a dot. There's a shortcut dot matches. What is that? Whoa. Returns true if this code and modifiers matches this hotkey. Borrow mute. Code. So shortcut should be returning a hotkey as a reference. What does this say? Unused variable. So if we just pass it directly. Unreachable pattern. Okay. Shortcut if shortcut equals do things. I mean, we could do this top level match though, right? That should work. So like this should work, right? Double equals. Double equals. If, oh, you're saying like shortcut double equals this? Is that what you're saying? Isn't that like embedded in the mesh? I'm gonna give this a try. It doesn't seem to be complaining at me too much, so. Unused variable. That does make me wonder if I goof something up though. So caps lock space. Okay. Seems to work. I probably didn't need to cancel it. That seems to work. I'm getting the shortcut press there. It's weird that it's saying unused variable here. What are we at? 2.5 hours? So if we match, you're declaring a variable binding in the match. I figured it was something like that. And I think that's probably what Minlong is trying to tell me. It's a variable binding. Okay. So let's see, new So we're gonna move app, handle, and a shortcut. Now if we match on shortcut, how do we match? So this would return a reference. I mean, it seems to work, which is a little bit confusing. But that warning is definitely, it's a variable binding, which means I shouldn't be doing that. Go to hotkey. Like it would kind of suck to have to like redefine this multiple times. That feels wrong also. Okay. Which, and that would make sense because, or it would make sense that it's working because I'm basically like reassigning it, right? Hotkey is this shortcut. If shortcut equals control. I'm just, for some reason, not following what you're saying, Minlong. So shortcut, if shortcut equals this, then that. So like, would that be like this? If shortcut, you should match the value which hotkey holds. That's kind of a confusing bit. It's a struct. I mean, I could use the ID and match on the ID. That also feels, I don't know, it feels a little awkward, I guess. I do something like this. Well, oh yeah, I tried this before. Can we do? That doesn't feel right either. You don't see a hotkey in the Tauri docs. Yeah, we're outside of docs being written, I think. So we are in global shortcut, Rust, and we're not like completely outside of it. We're doing it a little bit different though, and we're doing a match here. This like we're writing the handler, which should pretty much be the same. I was hoping to do a match statement here though, and it's comparing shortcut to that, which is why I was like, well, this felt fine, but the whole reassigning thing makes sense. So this is like, I think this would also work, and it's just not a top level match, right? Why do you need a match? I don't. It felt nice. Hotkey implements equality. So if I did this, so shortcut is a hotkey, right? Whoa, shortcut dot. When you say it supports equality, there's like a dot equals or something, right? I mean, I think this is gonna work too. It just felt nicer to do a match. Okay, so that's literally what you meant. This kind of equality check. Got it. I mean, this is fine. It just seemed like it might be nicer if I did it in a match. try deconstructing this match point. Try deconstructing like this match. Oh, there's like a comma in there. Try deconstructing like this match. Point, yeah. Point, yeah. So like you've got point X true, point Y true, and you're basically having to like redefine exactly what you'd have here, which didn't also feel good. I think so. My Rust knowledge is not adequate enough to say yes or no. I've definitely gotten that comment before. I'm in long. We are learning on multiple fronts. Trust. We'll get through this together, and whenever we do JavaScript, hopefully I fly through that and not accidentally give a use state a function or a set state a function. I've never done that before, especially not in the last stream. So I think this will work. And I think this feels the best. I don't want it to be caps lock. I'm gonna just rename this to, we were doing like what, Control Alt Space, I think. I don't know if I want that as the default, but, and we'll deal with this later. I don't really feel like dealing with the modifiers now. We're starting to run long anyways. But this gives us basically, with this plugin setup, we don't have to do any additional plugin setup here, and we can just straight away use this function to register and write the handler, like deconstructing hotkey fields. Yeah, like I think I get what you're saying, Ton. I'm gonna say Ton. But if I'm doing that, like this feels like less work, even if you're having to add more of them. Like else if shortcut equals whatever other shortcut. I don't think you're gonna have too many of these. I don't know, that feels just as fine as if you were having to, that feels like less work than having to deal with deconstructing hotkey fields. Yeah, why, and like what would I be getting out of it? This feels easier. I like the match syntax, and like this reads nice to me. But if I have to like do a whole bunch of messing around trying to get this value, like it's just not worth. Okay, so we've got a global shortcut setup. We've got the system tray setup. These are both implemented purely in the Rust backend, or the otherwise known as the Tauri builder. We will look next time at the notifications. I think there's no docs for Rust, but I think I actually would want to implement these in the web view anyways. But I think we want to do it in Leptos. So I'm gonna like Minlong, are you ready for some more pain? It's been a while since I touched Leptos. Like a bunch of these things, like literally the only time I'm writing Rust these days is now. Last time I wrote Rust, maybe a month or two ago, also on stream, also within the context of Tauri. So, you know, it's a time and attention thing. And I'm like, I need to come back to it more often, partly because I enjoy writing it, but partly because, you know, just like greasing those wheels knocks the rust off. And some of these bits are like, I can read it. Like I see what's going on and I understand that. But it's the like writing it from scratch. Like I can piece together a whole bunch of examples. WD-40. That's like a thumbnail. Just a WD-40 cannon pointing at the Rust symbol. I don't have a problem reading any of it. It's the like I understand what's going on and I understand like why you're using it, but it's the like starting it from scratch. I need I need more iterations of that to really feel comfortable with it. And when I say I could not write Rust without Rust Analyzer, like that is being completely straight. If I didn't have Rust Analyzer, there's no way that this code would come out, unless you all were like giving me code to paste in here. Which I think is really a testament to what they've done with the compiler. Okay, so anyways, next time we will do notifications in Leptos. And I think that's going to give us a very very solid baseline of all JavaScript, all Rust. And from there we can start like looking at little shortcuts or cleaning stuff up. And potentially the like other use cases that I personally have, which is sort of been the kickoff of all of this. Hopefully your belly feels better, Minlang. Thanks for stopping by, everybody. I always appreciate the help. And Rust is I'm getting better at it, but I can understand some of the sentiments. It's okay though. We'll get through it. So have a great rest of your week. We will see you next Tuesday for some more Leptos stuff. Get ready with the WD-40. Bye, y'all.